Weekly challenges have changed. Of course, alongside Gran Turismo 7 spec free update, we now have received enhanced weeklies, which allows things such as mission challenges and time trials to be added in. So today I'm going to take you through the first ever set of enhanced weeklies. However, before we do get into this video, if you want to stay up to date with everything GT7 and motorsport gaming related, then feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. Anyway, let's get to it. So here is an overview then for December week 1 and the first ever set of enhanced weekly challenges. It's rather a slow one this time around, admittedly, but it was the exact same when we first ever received these during Spec 2. So here we go then. The first event of the week is Blue Moon Bay Speedway, Infield A, and the Japanese FF Challenge 450. Of course, a new event alongside Spec 3. We'll then head over to Deep Forest Raceway Reverse for the Sylvia sisters, before going over to Lake Major East for the European FR Challenge 550. We then have one of the new enhanced missions. This is going to be a one-lap magic at Watkins Glen for the Corvette CXR. And then to finish off, another new event from Spec 3, Yas Marina Circuit and the World Touring Car 800. As for your rewards this week, for one event it's 100 grand, for 3 events it's 200 grand, and for all 5 it's 500k. So let's get into the first event of the week then, Blue Moon Bay Speedway Infield A with the Japanese FF Challenge 450, and we finally have a new contender in this grouping of cars. Of course, the Mitsubishi FDO, which is exactly the car this event is going to be aimed at. So when it comes to our car choice for this one, well, no doubt it would be the FDO, completely standard and no changes whatsoever. So let's go ahead and get into the event then. 4 laps, a total of 10 cars on the grid, 9 AI up in front of us, and of course we're going to use the FDO, which is more than capable when completely standard to absolutely wipe the floor with these. Now again, because of the FDO's inclusion, we now have a rival to the many Honda Civics and Integra Type Rs. However, I would say that the FDO does tend to perform better around this track. Now, in theory, the single car that you want to be is going to be the other FDO that's fielded here. For some reason, it is just much quicker than anything else, and it will begin to work its way through the field. So the quicker you overtake that, the better. And once you're ahead of it, you pretty much know you're in for a victory here. As you can see, I just worked my way through the grid as normal, eventually got it down the inside of the Integra and took the lead, and from there I would just build up my lead all the way to the end of the race to around about 15 seconds as we come up across the line to take our first victory of the week and our first victory of the enhanced challenges. Now as for the payout for this one, not too bad, 75,000 credits with that clean race bonus, and of course we get a 100 grand bonus on top. So for the second event of the week, we are once again keeping it short and sweet. This is going to be the Sylvia sisters at Deep Forest Raceway Reverse. Of course, aimed at one of the many generations of Sylvias in game. You can pick from absolutely any of them. Now, as for my car choice here, I'll be choosing the pre-facelift S14. I absolutely love this car. I have it built up to around about 500 pp, and honestly this just feels like the race of the night flamethrowers. It looks absolutely visually stunning. However, in terms of the race, it is incredibly short, only 3 laps, a total of 16 cars on the grid, but you won't be starting from the back, you'll be starting up in P10. Now really the best place to get your overtakes done here is certainly going to be the main start finish line, because again, some of the cars just tend to incredibly heavily brake for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Honestly, it's really not difficult. A lot of the cars look incredibly quick, but most of them really aren't. So as we got towards the end of lap 2, I would be battling for the lead here with this bright red Sylvia, getting it down the inside and eventually coming out victorious. After that, it was time to go ahead and build up our lead for one more lap to just over 5 seconds as we come up across the line to take victory. Our second tick of the week, and of course there's going to be no bonus reward this time. In terms of the payout though, not too bad, 67,500 credits for this one. The third event of the week then sees us head over to Lake Major East for the European FR Challenge 550, which is just pretty much a BMW one make series, as that's what the entire field do tend to use. So we're going to join them, with my car choice being the M2 competition. So up here then we've got a 5-lap sprint race with a total of 12 cars on the grid, 11 AI up in front of us, and unfortunately it is probably the most boring event of the week. It's just very spread out. You've got older machinery, more modern machinery. Again, it just makes for a massive mixed bag when a lot of these cars don't tend to upgrade. So unfortunately you'll just be picking one off to the next, and then maybe you'll have a grouping of a couple of cars and then you'll just carry on forward. And honestly, it's really not too difficult. The main cars you need to watch out for is going to be the M2 and the M4. Those tend to be much faster than anything else that this event fields. Now we made a move onto the P2 position and eventually would end up tracking down P1 to drag race him up to this corner and try and outbrake him, which is exactly what we did, managing to move ourselves into first on lap 3. In the end though, we built up a gap of around about 6.2 seconds as we came up across the line for our third tick of the week. And of course, we're going to get the regular payout and a bonus, 60,000 credits for the standard with the clean race bonus, a 4-star roulette ticket reward, and of course for completing 3 events this week, it's 200k. And finally, something that we've never seen before is mission challenges in the weeklies. Of course, that's what makes them enhance. And the first ever one is Watkins Glen long course and a 1-lap magic with the Corvette CXR, in which you must achieve at least bronze. The CXR though is an incredibly powerful machine, so it should be able to get the job done nice and easy. So the cars will line up and it will go from oldest to newest, with it being the C1 first and finally the C8 before the CXR, which is driven by yourself, will take to the track. And really the strategy here is just to be on that overtake button absolutely all the time. I bumped a bit of traction on just to get us started to be nice and clean, and then went straight on the overtake. Beyond that as much as possible and you should have no trouble. Just be aware that the CXR is incredibly quick and it really can throw you off at times with just how powerful this thing is. Now, it is pretty much set up that you'll get your last overtake just as you come up across a line. Even with a few mistakes though, I did manage to clear it with a pretty easy enough time. So eventually we do come up across the line and take gold. Now, for some reason, there's just no payout here. So then the 5th and final event of the week is a brand new one once again for Spec 3. That is the World Touring Car 800 at Yas Marina circuit. An incredible event and certainly my favourite from the latest update. So of course my car of choice would be the 296 with its Evo body kit on it. So let's go ahead then and get into the race. We've got 10 laps up in front of us, a full 20 car grid, and we are starting at the back with a pretty sizable margin to go ahead and get down. Now my strategy would be racing softs and fuel mix 1 with a single pit stop during the race. Now the majority of the AI here do not tend to pit. However, with the pace advantage on track, we can go ahead and make this strategy work incredibly easily. So really what you want to be doing here is just picking off the cars lap by lap and working your way through the grid as fast as possible. Of course, hence why we chose the racing softs. So by the time we're up onto lap 4 and lap 5, we would be going ahead and battling for the podium positions. So we go ahead and outbrake the Corvette, but then run into the side of the Mazda, getting a little bit elbows out, but it did not matter. We were up in P2 and exactly where we needed to be. We then box at the end of lap 5, going on to lap 6, to of course take a new set of racing softs, and of course we do not actually need to bother with fuel. So tyres on and away we went. At this point when we left the pits it would be a 17.6 second gap which we'd have to go ahead and get down, since the AI in front of us would not be pitting. And honestly it really wasn't that difficult. By the end of lap 6 we were back up into the podium positions and of course guaranteed a tick for the week then, and by the time we got onto the beginning of lap 8 we'd go ahead and make the move on the other 296 to take first place. In the end we'd build the gap upwards of 19 seconds almost as we come up across the line to take victory on our 5th and final tick of the first ever enhanced weekly challenges. The payout for this one without the clean race bonus, 200k, and of course 500,000 credits on top. So let's go ahead and open up our rewards for this week. Then we'll start with the daily driving marathon of a 4-star ticket reward first, and unfortunately it's not really going to reward us anything decent. We could have had one of the Lambos or an engine swap, but no, we do take away 10,000 credits in the end. So we're going to go ahead and just add that to the account then, and that's going to take our balance up to 99.2 million once again. Now after this we do have 100,000 credits for of course completing one single event this week. So we're going to add that and then we're going to go ahead and add the 200,000 credits for completing 3 events this week. At this point, we're at 99.5 million, meaning when we do open up the 5th and final ticket for winning all 5 events, that's going to take us back to 100 million credits once more. And well, with that, we've opened up all our rewards, and that's going to be it for the first ever set of enhanced weekly challenges. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for your continued support of this channel. Of course, I will be leaving for a week or so today since I'm going away, so I will not be here to be able to reply to comments or anything like that, but I will be returning with more up-to-date videos in a week's time. However, I do have content scheduled whilst I'm away, so of course the channel will be like it's never left. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.